My name is Isabella, and for a long time, I believed that his silence was just a personality trait. I thought he was just more introspective, reserved, someone who needed space. I didn't know. That silence was punishment. It was control. I met Raphael in a coffee shop near my work. He enchanted me at first glance. He spoke as if he had chosen each word carefully. He looked into my eyes as if he was seeing something that no one else saw. He was confident, charismatic, intelligent, and it made me feel special. In the early days, he was all attention. He knew exactly what to say. He praised me, said I was different. And I, so lacking in affection, so tired of lukewarm relationships, believed. But little by little, it began to disappear. First for a few hours, then for a whole day. When I asked, he got angry. He said I was clingy, that he didn't have to give satisfaction for everything. And I tried to understand. I tried to give space. The pattern became clear too quickly. Every time I said something more serious, he disappeared. It left me talking to myself. He ignored messages. I became a ghost. 4 days. That was the time he didn't answer once. All because I had kindly asked him to let me know when he got home. Because I worried. And so, he disappeared. At that time, I no longer slept properly. I cried in the shower. I felt guilty for having said anything. I felt punished, without knowing why. On the 4th day, he responded. My heart raced. I thought I would come up with an explanation, an apology. But the message was dry and scary. You're going to regret it. My blood ran cold. There I understood that it was not just about control. It was about fear. Agent is always afraid of him exploding, complaining, and this all becomes a trauma of not feeling comfortable in your own home, and if you've been through this, comment below. After that message from him, I spent hours looking at the cell phone screen. Tremendous. The body reacted as if it had escaped from real danger, even though nothing happened. Still, I began to review every sentence, every gesture. Did I say something too much? Did I do something wrong? That night, I locked doors. I closed windows. I left the lights on. He wouldn't come, right? Or would it come? And the most confusing, it's just that, even though I was afraid, a part of me still wanted him to appear. To say that he was angry, that he didn't mean that. I wanted to believe that it was just an exaggeration of my head. 2 days later, he sent another message. Can we talk now? Or will it make more drama? I trembled, of anger, of shame, of despair. But I went. I still thought I needed to solve it. We met in a park. He was calm, cold, but with that look, the same look that disarmed me in the beginning. He said I was ruining everything with my sensitivity, that if it continued like this, I would lose the best man in my life. And there, something inside me cracked. For the first time, I heard that phrase as it really sounded. He was not careful. It wasn't love. It was a threat. It was emotional blackmail. But even so, I stayed. I stayed because I thought it was better to give in. Better to endure. Better to be silent than to live in that panic. The routine has become a minefield. Any disagreement was a reason for him to disappear. And when he returned, he came with the same icy tone, as if he put fear inside us and expects us to thank him. He started to show up without warning. Once I was having dinner with a friend. He came out of nowhere. He pulled me by the arm and whispered, "Do you want to tease me? Be careful." My friend was in shock. I laughed. I disguised it. He said he was just jealous, that everything was fine. but it wasn't. I started having anxiety attacks, body aches, insomnia. I distanced myself from people. He said that my friends were no good, that they wanted to get me away from him, and I, tired, let them move away. The day of the turn was when he tried to follow me to work. I saw his car in the rearview mirror. My muscles locked. I rushed into the company. I locked myself in the bathroom. I cried like I had never cried before. I looked at myself in the mirror and almost didn't recognize myself. Deep dark circles, pale skin, eyes, deleted. There, I understood that it wasn't just about him. It was about me. I was losing myself. That morning, inside the company bathroom, my whole body screamed for help. I cried silently, afraid that someone would hear. I was afraid to admit, out loud, what I already knew. I was in danger. It was that week that I went to see a psychologist. I entered the room, mute. I left with a knot in my throat undone in the recognition of what I was experiencing. For the first time, someone told me in no uncertain terms that it was psychological abuse, that his silence, his veiled threats, that love he controlled. It was all part of a cruel and destructive cycle, but leaving was not simple. He felt that I was moving away. He began to call incessantly, sometimes late into the night. In others, he sent messages saying that he would get hurt if I left him. And the fear that was already in me turned into guilt. I backed off. I went to see him one last time. The scene is engraved on me. It was raining. He was waiting for me leaning against the car, cigarette in hand, eyes closed. As soon as I entered, he locked the doors, and, in that cold voice, "I know you're moving away because of the influence of others," he said. "If you're not careful, you'll end up alone and regretful." My voice came out trembling but firm. "Raphael, I'm not yours. Property." He gave a dry, mocking laugh. "You still don't understand, do you? No one will want you like I wanted you. When I got out of that car, my legs were shaking. But inside me, something changed. Courage emerged, even in the midst of chaos. The following week, I changed my number. I blocked him on all networks. I started to document what I experienced. Messages, prints, reports. I filed a police report, even with a mixed fear of hope and relief. And I moved away from the city for a while. He tried some attacks. Even far away, fear was still with me. It woke up with me, accompanied me in silence. But with time, with therapy, with the care of people who didn't judge me, I was rebuilding myself. Today, almost 2 years later, I can tell this without crying. I can say, I survived. It was not an exaggeration. It was not a dramatic instinct. It was abuse. And only by facing this did I understand. Those who truly love you don't make you live in fear. Love does not hurt. It does not silence. It does not threaten. If you are hearing this and feeling the discomfort or the fear, listen. That inner whisper is real, and you're not alone. I left, survived, and today, finally, I am free. On the abusive behavior of silent treatment. The silence he used was not absence. It was tactical, cloaked manipulation. According to experts, silent treatment, especially by those with narcissistic traits, is not just ignoring. It is a form of coercion and emotional punishment. This silence creates an environment of control, sometimes being used as a form of punishment, isolation, or correction, psych central. It also configures stonewalling, a prolonged communicative rejection that undermines the trust and security of the relationship. It stabilizes power and confuses those who suffer, generating insecurity and making it difficult to defend oneself or get out of the cycle. Simply psychology. These are subtle behaviors, but profoundly harmful. Recognizing them, as you did, was a courageous step toward healing. Over time, his memory became just that. Memory. I still have triggers. I still get scared when someone takes a long time to answer. I still find myself doubting myself in some situations. Sometimes my body reacts before my head understands that I'm no longer in that dark place. But now, I know how to identify. I know how to name it. And I know how to breathe until I pass. One day, I met an old friend on the street. She hugged me tight and said, "You're different. It feels lighter." I smiled. Because yes, I am. This healing process has no finish line. It is not a straight road. There are curves, falls, pauses. But every step away from him was a reunion with myself. The woman I am today was born from the ashes of the one he tried to destroy. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm proud. I'm proud to have lifted it. Of having said enough, even though I was trembling inside. Of having started again alone. Afraid, but with dignity. And today, if any woman tells me that she is experiencing something similar, I don't judge. I don't tell her to get out soon, because I know how hard it is. I just reach out and say, I understand you, and you will succeed. Because achieving it is not about strength. It's about having someone who says, "You're not crazy. You are being manipulated. And you deserve real love." Today I look at myself in the mirror with tenderness. Today I hug myself before going to sleep. Today, I choose myself every day. And this choice, it's the greatest proof of love I've ever received. From me to me. I'm Isabella, and that's my story. Today, when I close my eyes, I no longer see his face staring at me in silence. I see mine, peaceful, steadfast, cured. It took a while to get here. It took me a while to understand that what I was experiencing was not love. It was control. It was fear disguised as passion. It was a prison that I didn't see the walls of. But when I saw it, I left, and I never came back. What he did to me will never be fair. But I turned all the pain into learning, all the humiliation in force, all silence in voice. If you are now listening to this with a heavy heart, thinking that no one understands, I understand. If you feel guilty for wanting to leave, no. You have the right to go. You have the right to choose you. If you think you won't be able to take it, I'll tell you, you will. One step at a time, one small decision a day, and when you least expect it, fear will give way to courage, pain will turn into wisdom, and you'll be reunited with the woman he tried to erase, only much stronger. You are not alone. You never were. His freedom does not begin when he leaves. It starts the day you decide to stop doubting yourself. Being free was not like in the movies. It didn't happen overnight. It did not have a triumphant end with applause. It was slow. It was silent. It was painful. I had relapses. Many times I almost unblocked his number. Sometimes out of nostalgia. Sometimes out of doubt. Others due to need. He had planted so many seeds in me that I was difficult, over the top, unlovable, that even far away, his voice still echoed within me. But something in me started to respond back, not with anger, nor with despair. Take it easy, with truth. I started talking to fear, looking guilt in the face. And every time the desire to go back arose, I asked myself, is this the life you want again? Is this love that you accept for yourself? And he breathed deeply. And he continued. I started to walk more slowly, to allow myself to like what he ridiculed. Listen to my favorite songs without apologizing. I went to the beach, even though he said it was a waste of time. I painted my room yellow, even though he thought it was childish. I went back to wearing red lipstick. Each gesture was small, but inside me, it was revolution. It took me a while to allow myself to love again. For a long time, love was synonymous with tension, punishment, silence. I expected punishment at every turn. I expected rejection at every word. But over time, I understood. Real love does not silence. It does not punish. Don't disappear to teach you a lesson. Real love remains. True love listens. Healthy love doesn't make you forget who you are. Today, I don't seek approval. I don't accept crumbs. I don't explain myself to be accepted. And if there's one thing I learned, with every tear, with every silence, it's that what he called space was a prison, and what he called love was control. He erased me little by little. But what he didn't know, it's just that I'm fire. And fire, no matter how hard they try, does not go out easily. Today my silence is different. It is no longer fear, it's choice. Silence of someone who has learned to listen to herself, of those who understood that peace is worth more than any unhealthy oath of love. If I could go back and say something to Isabella from before, sitting in the bathroom, suffocated, scared, I would say, "You're not wrong for feeling so much. You're not too difficult. And yes, you're strong enough. Fear will accompany you for a while, but freedom, it arrives. And when it comes, you never fit into cages again. The greatest revenge I've had." He went back to smiling without fear. Today, when someone tries to diminish me, silence me, distance me from myself, I get up. No anger, no shouting. Only with the certainty that I will never be lost for anyone again. I'm Isabella. And that was the story of how one man tried to destroy me with silence. But I chose to heal in my own time, at my own pace. And today, finally, I am free, whole, and in peace.